So let's move on to what I'm talking about. You may know, you may not know. I'm talking about the Neil Harris interview that went out on the Millwall official Twitter page after the game last night. First and foremost, the video was 7 minutes long, and Twitter videos are 2 minutes and 20. So they really wanted to get their message out. In my opinion, the club have let Neil Harris take enough shit, and now the season's done and dusted. Okay, we've got one game left, but our final position and the outcome of the season is now determined. So I think that they wanted to get the message out and make it clear to try and get people on board with Neil Harris. It's 7 minutes long, and the guy asking the questions asks questions to Neil Harris, and you can see in Neil Harris he looks frustrated, he looks tired, he looks a little bit angry, and he's chewing on it, but he's chewing on a few things. You can see that he's getting asked questions, but he keeps going back to points that aren't really to do with the questions, in my opinion. Let's start out with some of them. I'm going to have to directly quote them because I've written them down. So he starts out by talking about Lee Gregory and the goal he scores, and he says, he obviously confirms Gregory's unlikely to stay and praised his hard work despite that he is leaving. And he says, if every one of my players had the desire and attributes he does, we'd be in the top half of the league. So let's start with that. He has directly, in my opinion, he's half calling players out without naming them. And last season, with pretty much the same squad, if not a slightly worse squad, we did finish in the top half of the league. Now, Millwall is a club that is forged and based on hard work and want to fight for each other. And the fact that we was 8th last season, and the fact that we're now 21st, I think it is, without really changing the players, it is a tough one. I do understand where he's coming from. I did think it was a little bit of second season syndrome, maybe. But maybe it's more. He just, wants the players that want the desire to play for the club, and if he hasn't had that this year, then that will play a massive factor. But why hasn't he had the players to do that this year? That is the other question that I want to ask. When he's got pretty much, as I've already said, the same core of players. I mean, who have we got different? We've got a better goalkeeper in goal now with Dave Martin. Alex Pearce for Sean Hutchinson is pretty much the same player. We've got Ben Thompson back, albeit not for long, but a better player than we had in the midfield. I don't know. So maybe, maybe he's right in what he says. Maybe just the sheer desire and hard work to want to play. This season hasn't been as strong as it was last year. But having said that, again, he's still picking the same players pretty much as he was last season. So I don't know, maybe it's a feeling as a whole in the camp. He needs that competition for places, and there's players that have tailed off, there's players that don't want to play. But in their defence, again, my argument would be, but you keep playing the same players and you're not giving players a chance. And I know for a fact that's why one player definitely wants to leave, because he don't feel that he's been given the opportunity that he should have been this season with players that we've got in his position that are ageing or perhaps not good enough. Read into that what you will. But yeah, it's a tough one. Let's move on to the next point. So Harris just blatantly comes out and says, some players don't want to play for the club. Let's be honest, we need to move those on. Who is he talking about? It is very hard to tell. I think if you are on a lot of social media like I am, if you're on the Facebook groups, maybe one in particular, Millwall, just Millwall, if you are on that, then you know exactly who and what I'm talking about. Harris, when asked why Fred doesn't want to play why he hasn't played Fred, directly come out and said, I don't want to play players that don't want to play for this club. So I think you can definitely 100% say that Fred is one of those players. Harris has confirmed that. And again, these players that aren't getting a look in, have been at the club for a long, long time, perhaps come through our academy, feel that it's their time to maybe come into the team now. And they haven't been given an opportunity to do so. And I do understand their frustrations, and I think the fans are on board with their frustrations at times, with no disrespect to Big T, because Tom Elliott, because he does try his hardest, but unfortunately his hardest isn't good enough. We've seen it before in the past. Morrison continually played. Tony Craig continually played. Jordan Archer, beyond the joke, continually played. Can't work that beyond all realms of reality, that one. So, you can understand why players are frustrated that they can't get in. And Harris seemed to be he was clearly riled by that. He was pissed off at those players. He went on to say, I've represented this team and as a player, this club, and as a manager for over 18 years, and I've got broad shoulders, and I realise that as the manager, the responsibility has to land at my feet. But some of these people haven't helped him out this season, and he needs to get rid of them in the summer. So it's good that he says he knows that. He also says that he's watching and he's aware and he does know what's going on, who we do need to recruit. So I'm hoping he does realise who isn't up to it on the pitch, and he is literally having to use them because what the feeling I'm getting from him is he's having to use these players because they are professionals, they are, maybe more experienced than others, and they have the right attitude in training, and that's why they are playing above these people that we keep crying out for to play, and they're not playing. A lot goes on at football clubs that we'll never see and never know about. So, Saturday at 3 p.m, we see the players for an hour and a half, and we might talk about it for 5-6 hours in that day. But there is a lot that goes on at a football club behind the scenes that you'll never see. And for that, you have to respect Harris in a way that, you have to get behind his decisions a little bit more than you maybe would like. If you can't understand things sometimes, you have to say, look, okay, we don't fully understand what's going on, but you're the gaffer, and listen, he does want the best for Millwall Football Club. Yes, his tactics have been a bit shocking this year. Yes, it's been some of the worst displays of football I've ever seen, no excitement. He does go on to say it's been a massive reality check this year, and we do need to invest in the squad and bring in personnel that are committed to playing for this club. So again, he's going back to, again, the player, people that are not committed for playing to this club. And I don't think he's talking about players that he signed recently. I think he's talking about players that have been there for a while. He said, I want people at the club that are going to buy into my work ethic, which is hard work, yes. The Millwall way, yes. But Gaffer, honestly, I love you, but I'm hoping that doesn't fucking mean more long ball, because we need to change it. And this is what I'll say now. We need to change it. I have backed Harris, and I get a lot of shit for that. I think what he's achieved the last 4 years, he definitely deserves the opportunity to change it. Do I think he will be successful in changing it? No. Honestly, no. I don't think he will. I don't think he'll be successful in changing it. I think we'll give him the opportunity, and I think he deserves that opportunity for the man he is. Not for the man he was as a player, but what he's achieved in a short space of time as a manager. But I don't think he'll be successful. I don't think our recruitment will be good enough again. I don't think it's been anywhere near good enough. I think there's a lot of unrest at the club, and I think he needs to get rid of a lot of fucking players. A lot of players. And I come out and said that, we need to get rid of this, and I named all these players, and in an ideal world, that would be fantastic. But we ain't going to get rid of that many players. There's no way. I'm telling you now, you're going to have Tunnicliffe, you're going to have Leonard, you're going to have Pearce, you're going to have Romeo, you're going to have a lot of the players that are here this season, Williams, probably Tom Elliott. You're going to have a lot of these players that are here this season, and they're going to be here next season. We're not going to be able to get rid of the 10 that I named that I would get rid of. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. So it's difficult to see us getting out of this hole. But having said that, I have dug Neil Harris out before when we was 17th in League One and just lost our 6th straight game away at Walsall a couple of years ago. Fred scored that day, if you may remember it. I'd had enough of it. I'd had enough of his tactics. I'd had enough of his formations. I'd had enough of him not signing players and not using them. At the time, I think it was Greg Wild and Dave Wall, people like that. And he proved me wrong. He dug himself out of it. So, again, don't take what I say as gospel. I'm just a fan. It's just my opinion. But I think, yes, he deserves the opportunity to dig us out. But no, I don't think he's going to pull it off, to be honest. So that's your lot for this post-match analysis / Neil Harris revelations on Twitter. Even we had like John Kelly coming out and going, wow. Like it was something that probably needed to be addressed, but Harris was waiting for the right time. And you can see, if you get the chance to watch it, have a look, because I feel for the gaffer in that. I really do. And I really think that this interview shows now more than ever that he cares for the club and he wants the best, and he won't take shit off players that don't want to play for the club. And he directly blames those players for us not achieving this season, which, again, I'm not sure if I'm completely on board with. But listen, I could talk about this all day, all night. But if you can watch it, it's on the Millwall official Twitter account. Try and have a look at it. Try and watch it for yourself and forge your own opinions of it, because it's definitely worth a look. But one last game to go. Wigan away Sunday. About 200 fans out there, wouldn't we? I don't even know if I'm going yet, to be honest. But there will be pre-match predictions up tomorrow for that one, and score predictions. One last push. But listen, keep smiling. We're in the Championship next season. Please subscribe to Lions TV. Come on, you Lions.